Peace, family. What's good with y'all? We are back with another edition of Aboriginal Global Media. I am your host, the one and only Ghetto Scholar, here tonight to discuss a very, very important topic. And we are just loading up all of our social media. We are streaming live on Instagram at godbody.og. Here live on YouTube at The Ghetto Scholar. That's D-A, as in Ebonics, The Ghetto Scholar. We're also streaming live on X at GodbodyOG and Facebook. So welcome, everyone. Y'all see the topic. It's going to get hot tonight. Make sure you share this with your vote. Your children, I will behave myself tonight, can watch this. The elders can watch this because we want to have a family discussion on what this is all about. Why did public educational institutions hide white slavery? Yes, we're going to talk about it. I just did the documentary, so all the collaborators give yourselves a round of applause. I came on YouTube in 2005 when YouTube first came out. I can remember when YouTube first came out. And my first conversations were from an institution that we had at the time that was called International Society of Indigenous Sovereigns, which eventually evolved into ARNM. And so I want y'all to know that despite the fact that, I'm a playful kind of spirit, I play around and I like to have fun with conversations, that I'm also a very serious person. But I don't let my seriousness destroy my love of education. And so and so we need to understand what maturity looks like still with a foot on somebody's neck. There is a way to communicate things where anger and the emotion surrounding the subject does not have to consume the person who's presenting it. And I'm not a person who is consumed by anger when I present on things. I am simply here to educate the people. And so one way you can help me is to hit the like button, to share this with your family and your friends so that they can engage a discussion, academic, historical, social, all the angles, and get something out of it. Because you will get something out of it. Somebody accused me of dividing the people, black person. Accused me of dividing the people by having this conversation. And so you need to know that every year from grade school through high school into college, secondary education, that your people and everybody here in the United States learns about what they term the slavery of Black Americans or African Americans. We all did. We opened the books, we learned about it, we learned about Harriet Tubman, we learned about the Underground Railroad, we learned about all these things. And so now in a world where, thankful, we have less censorship, and that comes directly as a result of the political atmosphere, we can talk about these things. There was a time people couldn't talk about it because they didn't even know it existed. If you have parents that was born in the 60s, grandparents that was born in the 40s, saw your great grandparents, if you're my age, I'm 50 years old. I grew up around all my great grandparents. You will see a large gap in the understanding of history when you get to people who are my grandparents' age and my parents' age. There was a large gap. There's a large gap in shared tradition, behavioral dynamics, and the basis of it was the public education system. People started going to college, advanced institutions, and doing what they thought was getting a better education. But I'm here to tell you, your education is not a better education. You actually paid for a fraud. And that we need to be able to have these conversations comfortably. Like, for real, comfortably. People have been talking about a black slavery that was not an accurate depiction of what happened for a long time. I have published literature on this stuff. They lied about the transatlantic slave trade. That's a book that we have. But what I'm here to tell you tonight is buckle up your seatbelt. Get ready, because it's going to get hot in the kitchen. Now, I did a documentary on this subject. All right, let me show you where it is. For those of you who are on my Patreon, all right, if you're on my Patreon, you can go. Let me share this with you real quick. You can go straight to my Patreon and you will see this. You'll see this. I'll put the Patreon in the for those of you who are not a part of it. I think you need to be on my Patreon, because this is where I'm completely uncensored. I cannot publish this documentary to YouTube. They will take it down. If I did a documentary on the black slave trade, YouTube will not take it down. But the fact that I did a documentary on the white slave trade, YouTube wants to take it down. So it's on my Patreon. Let me come to my folk over on Instagram and get you that link too. All right, we'll put the link in the chat. So if you're on Patreon, you can go right there and see it. And so now that's a testament to itself. There are platforms that will not allow me to do a history. I didn't call anybody names. I didn't call nobody nothing. I didn't try to offer anybody medicine. There are no racial epithets in the documentary. But I had to post it on my Patreon and put it on the website so you could go purchase it for download in order to get this out. That alone is a testament to what is going on. The real teachers are almost all gone. And when I talk about a real teacher, I'm talking about someone who can effectively educate with a purposeful intent that solves a major problem. And so now we're about to talk about this in a way that may hurt some feelings. It may not. I don't know. But I also do know that it's important for you to hear everything that we are saying. When people think about slave trades, two things usually come up. Three things. The transatlantic slave trade of African people, first thing. Jews being enslaved in Egypt, second thing. And the third thing is everybody was in slavery, get over it. I'm about to debunk all three of those. I'm about to debunk a lot of stuff. Because if we're going to talk about Jewish people being enslaved in Egypt, you got to prove it to me. Not only that, don't get mad at me because I'm talking about censorship. Don't get mad at me. The reason why you should not get mad at me when I talk about censorship is because the world just went through something with the jab, the C-19 epidemic, where people were censored, people lost their job because they did not want to get inoculated. People's children were not allowed to go to school unless they got inoculated. Exemptions that existed before were suspended. Sound familiar? Because according to what they told us, whether this is true or not, in Nazi Germany, forced inoculation was a part of a political operation. That's what they told us, at least. We got to do some investigation on anything that is said to us. But they told us Adolf Hitler was the worst human being in history because he was abusing people, forcing inoculations, etc. Meanwhile, it just happened to the entire planet. And guess who was at the bedrock of all of the political operations for the C-19? And this is documented. They weren't the only ones, but they were there and present. Jewish people. So political Jews who have gotten before the people and complained about the Holocaust actually got together and created a scenario where people lost resources, jobs, and were forced to take inoculations. That did happen. And so now my question to you is, where do you live? Because this is not just a lecture. I'm calling you out. You. Y-O-U. You. Because what are you doing to change the circumstances of the situation on earth that is out of control? And why is it that you don't get to read in your public education things that your property taxes pay for and all of this? Why is it that you don't get to read about the global white slave trade? Now, let's qualify the statement. White is a generic term, but slave is not, because slave comes from Slav. And when we look at the Slavs, they come from a particular place in the world. There were no dark-skinned black Slavs. If you have a problem with understanding that, let me show you a map. Let me show you a map. Let's look at Slavic people. Oh no, we are not going to let anybody get away. Where are Slavic people? We're going to make this real easy for you. In case you don't understand that the word slave comes from an ethnic term that is exclusive to white people. There's the term, Slav. So what are we talking about again? Notice where all the black people, South America, no Slavs. Notice France, Spain, France, Germany, Great Britain, no Slavs. The map is not lying. They were called the people of the European steppe, S-T-E-P-P-E. And we're going to show you how they got up in this place. And so the word Slavic, the language Slavic is not even there. They borrowed that. But they put the word Slavic on it. So look at the places that Bulgarian, Ukraine. Look at this. Ain't nobody got to make nothing up. Children, you have been lied to. Your parents sent you to institutions that will make you stupid. All the money put through all of the school districts, 3,100 counties with school districts all over the place. There are 3,100 counties in the United States of America, and not one of them has ever taught real history to anybody since the inception of the school districts. I need you to think about that now. We're calling ourselves the most advanced nation on earth, and not one school district has ever taught you real history. And they got everybody participating. So let's give the Illuminati a round of applause, because they got to have the smoothest propaganda game in the history of the world. Let's give them a round of applause. Ain't no way. Think about this now, because I'm coming to the real problem. Ain't no way you can get abused that much and want to stay. Why? Why would you want to stay under that much abuse? Now, we can make up any excuse in the world we want to make up. What they did, it doesn't matter. We're choosing to stay the way that we are. And so let's talk about it, though. Because I'm proposing that white slavery look at these comments. I'm telling you, this is the problem. And it's okay. I'm not going to be able to end this type of thinking. I can't do it. I can't end the victimization psychology. I can't do that. You can't do it either. People are just going to stay in that state. However, let's get to the education of this. You don't have to agree. You don't have to agree. And so the world just got like this. And I mean that in the last 150 years, the world just got like this. The world hasn't been like this for a long time. Yes, there were lots of wars. Yes, there were lots of battles. Here's the kicker. I need you to understand this. You never lost a major war of colonization ever until the 20th century. Never. The Civil War, we're doing a documentary on it. The only reason there was a civil war is because 40,000 black men were going to go to Atlanta and take over the entire city and the railroads. Once one of the leaders communicated with Abraham Lincoln that this was about to go on, the thought was if they take the South, they could take the North. The army was multiplied to 200,000 people. They were using a secret telegraph system throughout the South to communicate. Harriet Tubman was not the leader of the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad was led by Maroons, and the first United States colored regiments all were populated by Maroons who was right around the corner in the swamps, and white people refused to go into those areas because they didn't want to get their ass kicked. That's what happened, bro. Let me go further. I need you to understand this, because you live in I don't care who taught you to believe in some spookism. White people have not been in power for 6,000 years. They've barely been in power for 200 years. My great-grandmother and my great-great-grandmother, both same stories. Medicine women, midwives, voodoo queens in the South. I watched my great-grandmother as a child. And I knew as a child she was different than my grandmother and my mother. Then by the time I grew up, when I get into herbs and all these science, my mother is telling me, you just like your great-grandmother and your great-great-grandmother. What I'm trying to tell you is the colonization is recent. You get the documentary right there. I got the link, patreon.com, Dr. Ali. If you want to buy the documentary, you can go to the website. I'll show you before it's all over. The point is, it's not what you think. We lost our power through integration and the separation of the man from the woman that happened in the 20th century. That's when you lost. You didn't lose no damn ancient wars. What ancient war did you lose? A real historian is going, like me, is going to dog walk anybody who thinks that they can come and say, Oh, we lost some type of war somewhere. What war? I'm about to go through the data right now. The same war you lost in the 20th century is the same war you're losing right now. Your women decided, I don't care who gets mad about what I'm about to say. Your women made a conscious choice to leave the home and go to a foreign people's educational system to get indoctrinated to become a op to her family. I don't care if what you feel about that. It happened. And so we're about to get into this because I'm going to show you how colonization really works. If they colonize our children and they're teenagers with some type of mind thought, it could be the internet stuff that's going on. By the time they have children, they'll be disconnected from what I teach. My children's children can be disconnected from what I teach. By the time they have children, 3 generations, it's over. That's how fast you can wipe away memory. That's how fast you can wipe it away. Then they'll have you believing that they did that shit 500 years ago. Start talking about Columbus, a person who never existed, or whatever else they're going to talk about. They didn't even have black popes until the 1400s. I mean, white popes, excuse me. Correction. They didn't even have white popes until the 1400s. The entire history of Europe is ruled by black people until the late 1700s. The reason why white slavery had to be suppressed is it proves that they were nowhere ruling nothing. It also proves that your black ass was fighting each other in different parts of the planet. That's what really happened. Just like you're doing right now. That's how they got into position gradually, is you fighting each other. And you're still doing it. Your indigenous African behind is over here trying to tell my indigenous American behind who I am and where I come from because you listen to some ops. You don't know, they don't know their history. Our people don't know our history. And so if you want to undo this, you got to undo it like a grown man undoes it. How are we going to do it? You need your own universities, your own schools, your own curriculum, your own literature, your own process of education, your family back. These are things you have to do by yourself and not point the finger and keep saying the white man, the white man, the white man, the whoever, the Jew, whoever. This is what grown men do. They take back their communities. And so what we're saying simply is it didn't happen the way you thought it happened, and we're about to talk about how it happened. So let me give you some names. Balkan slave trade. Let's look it up. Watch this. Watch how I play fiddle with the devil. I'm just going to put in a whole bunch of names of different slave trades, and I want you to pay attention to what happens. Because this is how the deception takes place. Watch how this happens. Balkan slave trade. You can write that down. Watch what happens when I share this with you. Balkans. You know where the Balkans are? Was a major historical trade route, primarily during the Middle Ages, in which people from the Balkans were enslaved and trafficked across the Adriatic and Aegean seas to Italy, Spain, and the Islamic Middle East. Balkan slave trade. You got that one down? That's one. Let's keep going. Watch this. Black Sea slave trade. The Black Sea slave trade trafficked people across the Black Sea from Eastern Europe and the Caucasus to slavery in the Mediterranean and the Middle East. Got it? Black Sea slave trade. So we got the Balkan slave trade. We got the Black Sea slave trade. Let's keep going. Venetian slave trade. The Venetian slave trade refers to the slave trade conducted by the Republic of Venice, primarily from the early Middle Ages to the late Middle Ages. So the slave trade was a contributing factor to the early prosperity of the young Republic of Venice as a major trading empire in the Mediterranean Sea. They're all going to the same place to get these slaves, but they call them the different slave trade. So we got Balkan slave trade, Black Sea slave trade, Venice slave trade, taking place at the same time, going to the same place to get the same damn people. Oh, we're not done. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Watch this. Barbary slave trade. Let's go. The Barbary slave trade involved the capture of Europeans and selling them as slave markets in largely independent Ottoman Barbary states of North Africa. Barbary slave trade. So we got Balkan slave trade, Black Sea slave trade, Venetian slave trade, Barbary slave trade. We at number 4. Let's keep going. Ottoman slave trade. A foundational economic system with an estimated millions enslaved from Europe. Ottoman slave trade. Let's keep going. Slavery was common in the early Roman Empire and classical Greece. It was legal in the Byzantine Empire. They talk about how it was transformed. Let's keep going. Keep in mind, all of these slave trades are happening at the same time. Trans-Pacific slave trade. The Trans-Pacific slave trade involved the forced migration of thousands of individuals from Southeast Asia, the Philippines, and the Pacific Islands to the Americas via the Spanish Manila galleons and later the 19th century blackbirding. Do you understand that this is the slave trade that brought all the so-called Native Americans and Eurasians into Mexico, South America, and other parts of the world? Not no damn Bering Strait. So now we got the Balkan slave trade, the Black Sea slave trade, the Venetian slave trade, the Barbary slave trade, the Byzantine slave trade, the Ottoman slave trade, the Trans-Pacific slave trade, all going on at the same time. And they got you focused on the transatlantic slave trade. And here is the kicker. Yes, I'm going to blow your mind. More white people were brought into slavery via the transatlantic slave trade than black people. Yes, it's true. Oh, I'm not worried about it because we have the data. Now, let me ask another question. Why is it illegal for your children to learn that? They all happening at the same time. 1400, 1500, 1600, 1700s, 1800s. All this is happening at the same time. All non-black people. Where was the black people at? You can't even say this out. The black people ran the slave trade. The black people even started fighting over the slave trade. You want to see the companies? The Levant Company, the Moroccan, like y'all want to see this? Okay, we can go back to that too. Let's go. Come on, y'all want to play around? What? The Levant Company, also known as the Turkey Company, was a chartered English enterprise that held a monopoly on trade between England and the Ottoman Empire. Watch this. By 1450, over 3,000 Venetian ships were in operation. The Venetian Trade Company was real. Let's see if they want to. They don't want to give me this one. They don't want to show it to me. They don't want to show it to me. Hold up. There we go. Give it to me. There we go. In 1585, Queen Elizabeth I established the Barbary or Morocco Company to formalize trade between England and Morocco. They're trading at the same time that the Barbary slave trade, the Balkan slave trade, the Ottoman slave trade, the Venetian slave trade. Y'all see how this is going? Now they got to tell you the truth. Queen Elizabeth I was black. Are they ready for that? Let me show you this stuff. I ain't even showing it to you. Let me get back to it because I showed you the Moroccan one. I can show you the Moroccan one. We showed you Venetian Trade Company. 1500s. Now, we just showed you the Venetian slave trade. Now you're looking at the trade companies. Levant Trade Companies, also called the Turkey Slave Company. Watch this one. Ha! Ha! The Royal African Company was ran by the Stuarts. You know Stuarts? The Stuart family in England, which was black. Are y'all ready to have this conversation? Is what I'm talking about. I'm about to show you, though. I'm just not going to talk about it. I'm about to show you. The English Civil War, the Stuart Restoration, all of that is black people in Europe fighting white people as you get into the 1600s, 1700s. I'm going to show you that all the people, what they did is they made up the paintings. Let me show you. Let me. Some of y'all gonna be surprised. Some of y'all gonna be very surprised. Very, very surprised at what you're about to see. All right. let's get into this. Let's get into it. The first thing I have to prove to you is that the reason why they hit the white slave trade is because they didn't want you to know that the nobility throughout Europe was black. You knew the Moors was black, and the North Africans and all of that. You didn't know that. You knew that. You didn't know that the Byzantines was black. You didn't know that the Europeans was black. And so, what's the purpose of me talking about this? The purpose of me talking about this is because the world is about to change. And you might be not in the proper rhythm and flow to understand how it's about to change. I'm about to show you how it's about to change. I'm a part of the change. Matter of fact, we're leading the change. Let's just get this real. Your days of celebrity worship and all of that is down the trash. You about to learn something major. Now let's look at this for ourselves to see. This is Montague Venables Bertie. I'm gonna go through all kind of European leadership. This is from John Mackey. Matter of fact, let me do this. I want to do this right. Let me show you where this comes from. Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you where this comes from. I'm going to give you the exact source. So you won't say, hey, man, where is this from? Show your sources, Ali. I'm going to show my sources. I promise. I'm going to show my sources. Hold on, let me show my sources. For the record, somebody want to cause me what? This is the source right here. Memoirs of the Secret Services of John Mackey, Esquire, during the reigns of King William, black, Queen Anne, black, and King George I, black. The true secret history of the rise promotions of the English and Scots nobility, officers, civil, military, naval, and other persons of distinction from the Revolution. Now we're talking about the Civil War in Europe. There was a Civil War in Europe. You didn't know that? You didn't know that white people created a civil war in Europe to try to overthrow the black nobility? You didn't know that? Oh, yeah, that happened. This is what he's talking about. In their respective characters at large, drawn up by Mr. Mackey, pursuant to the direction of Her Royal Highness, the Princess Sophia. So this is my source. Now, let me go back. Let me go back so you can see what else I'm about to show you. Let's go back to black. Let's go back. Here we go. Look at this guy. So Montague Venables Bertie, Earl of Abington. This is in the 1600s now. Is a branch of the Berties. This is a family. A gentleman of fine parts. Makes a good figure in the countries of Oxford and Buckinghamshire. Was made by the Queen Constable of the Tower of London. Remember the Tower of London? Is very high for the monarchy and church, of a black complexion. Look at how they painted him. Oh, we just gonna go through it all. Heneage Finch, Lord Gunfrey, 2nd Earl of Aylesford, by Thomas Hudson, Look how they painted him. What did it say? He's a tall, thin, black man. Oh, we're just going to keep going. Richard, Earl of Ranelagh. Look at his portrait. He is very fat, black, and turned of 50 years old. Oh, we're just going to keep going. Richard Lumley, Earl of Scarborough. And you know that they knew what they was talking about because Richard, the Earl of Scarborough, he said a handsome man of a brown complexion. Earl of Kingston. Black complexion. Well made. They even said when the person was pale or fair-skinned in this book. So they knew what they were talking about. When the person wasn't dark-skinned, black-skinned, they said he wasn't. Algernon Capel, Earl of Essex, brown complexion. Basil Fielding, he is tall, fat, very black. Look how they paint. Now these paintings that you go Google came later. They're not from the time that the people lived. Sidney, Lord Godolphin, Lord High Treasurer, the treasurer of the country. He is of middle stature, of brown complexion, with a sour, lofty look. Charles, Duke of Somerset, Master of the Horse, of the ancient family of Seymour. Seymour? The ancient family? This duke, in the reign of King Charles II, had the garter and married the heiress of Percy of Northumberland, which much increased his estate, but he made no considerable figure till the reign of King James. This is the master of the horse during the time of King James. He is called, on the Queen's accession to the throne, he was made master of the horse. He is of a middle stature, well-shaped, a very black complexion. Is that very black right there, bro? Is that very black, bro? Is that very black right there, bro? Let's zoom in on this. Well, I don't see no very black, bro. I see very pale. I see very pink. This is a different education. Charles Lenox, Duke of Richmond, pale, shape, black complexion. Charles, Duke of St. Albans, the son of Charles II, the leader of the Stuart Restoration, bro. This is Charles II's son. He is of a black complexion. Charles Fitzroy, Duke of Grafton, a tall black man. Daniel of Nottingham, tall, very thin black man. Bruh, do you see this? Look, Charles V, the Holy Roman Emperor. This is from the Larco Museum in Lima, Peru. His face was depicted on the wall. That's him. This is the remake. This is the whitewash. Bro, listen, y'all need to understand what has happened, bro. And this is all these churches that you see that look like this, bro. This is science. This is cathode electrical science. A church was a source, a place of healing. You get circulation, circulation and church come from the same word, bro. We don't have to make nothing up. We don't have to make nothing up. Saint Constantine? The writing right here, this is Giz. This ain't no European language, and even if it was, it's still black. But this is Giz. Do y'all understand what is being said to y'all, bro? We don't gotta make nothing up. We don't gotta make nothing up. This is two black armies fighting each other. One European, one Moorish. But look at the symbol of the Moors. Let me make it real plain. Look at the symbol of the Moors. Where do you see that flag at today? I'm telling you, there are no ancient white people. Sorry. You can't go past 2,000 years ago and even find white people anywhere except crawling around with a different biological form. They are in ancient civilization. There is no ancient Greece and Rome, so we already dealt with that. I'm going to say that again. There is no such thing as ancient Greece and ancient Rome. It did not exist, and you believe a lie. There are no ancient Hebrews or ancient Jewish people. You believe a lie. The reason why you believe a lie is because they have to redact the history because they don't want you to know that they were slaves the whole time. That's the secret. That's the secret. I got him. I got him. I got him. Let me say that again. There are 0 ancient white civilizations. 0. How they're controlling you today is the womb that you come from is weak. And the sperm that you're made of is weak. By choice. That's it. Ain't nothing else going on. Because if you don't come out with the courage entrained into you, propaganda, social engineering squeezed it out of your lineage. In the documentary, we show you. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you right now. I'm going to show you. I got it on my YouTube. I ain't got to go into the document. I'm going to show you how they make these, bro. I want to, he said, who is behind this? Y'all need a Wizard of Oz to be behind this. I'm going to tell you who's behind this from the beginning. I'm going to tell you who's behind this. White families who decided they didn't want to be slaves anymore. That's who's behind it. Y'all want the Rockefellers and the DuPonts and the Warners and the, okay, yeah. But how did they become that though? We're about to talk about it. How did they become that? You know how they became that? And this is why I'm going to get, you know how they became that? They decided that that's what they wanted. We're going to get into names, but you're missing the point. You're looking for another spooky reason to explain some shit when we're sitting around and letting these people do all kinds of stuff on our earth and not doing a thing about it. You don't have to ask no spooky questions. Y'all looking for all the things except standing your ass up. Y'all looking for the nitrogen. Y'all looking for the fabulous 5 families. Y'all looking for everything. But I'm going to ask you again, what are you doing to undo this bullshit? I don't want to hear nothing about effects and people and things and whatever somebody is trying to do to keep us, and the social engineering and the water, and they messed up the atmosphere and they did this and they did that. Motherfucker, lay your ass down then. No, the reason why you don't do anything is because you don't know what to do. See, you got to be honest. You don't know what to do. That's why you don't do anything. You don't know what to do. Back to the subject, goddammit. Let me get back to the subject. Cause y'all need the clarity you're asking for. You're asking for who? I'm gonna show you who. Y'all want to know who? I'm gonna show you who, but let me get to it. Let me get to it. Hold on. I am going to prove who is dead mentally and who is alive just by this conversation. We ain't got to make nothing up. Let me show you. I'm going to show you how they make these documents, though. This is important. Let me show you how to make these documents. So. All right, so let me share this. I'll just go to my Facebook and share this. This is a video showing you how they forge documents. Because one of the things that we do, this is why y'all need to come take classes at Aboriginal University. So y'all can learn how to vet scholarship the only way to do it so you can arrive at the truth that we arrive at. The documents that y'all hold dear, they're in a basement making these things up, redrafting them. Let me show you. The documents you believe in, the Bible, the Quran, the Medunedr. I'm not putting all those books down. I'm just saying, what level of work have you personally took in order to understand the level of forgery around you? Huh? It's massive. But we have a way to help you understand it. Oh, and we're the only ones that can do it. Before we get right into the documentation, to start with the slave trade of the white people and work our way backwards into history, we have to address one major thing again, and that is the forgery and reconstruction of history through falsification of documents. What you are looking at here is that process taking place, where documents are copied, redrafted, and put out as originals. We have to take this into consideration because as we reconstruct history through proper documentation and make sense of what has happened, we have to show you that the people you have trusted to teach your children, to deliver curriculum, to even hold rare documents, will forge them. Byzantine records, European records, Islamic records, ancient American records, Catholic Church records, Eastern Orthodox Church records, African records, Egyptology. They have had over 200 years to forge all of these documents, and we are here to reconstruct properly. Before we get right into the documentation, to start with the slave trade of the white people. All right, so in the documentary, we showed this guy, and this is a common thing. I'm talking about statues, documents. You think the statue is from ancient Rome? They make that shit in a basement, bro. You think the document is 400 years old? That document is literally 20 years old. And so I'll give y'all the link. Matter of fact, let me just do it now. If you want the link to purchase it straight out, you don't want to be a subscriber on Patreon, you can go right here. Yeah, we're gonna give you an opportunity. Y'all can support us. This is the best education on the planet, not just for our people, for anybody. There is no one better at history than Aboriginal University. No one. So you can buy it from here. You can literally buy it from here. You can literally buy it from here. So let me get my link. And guess what? Here's the thing. Everything that you buy from me is free. It's a tax write-off. I'm going to say it again. Everything that you buy, I don't care what you buy. I do philanthropic work in the community. Everything that you buy from me is free. If you don't want to go to Patreon, you can go right here. I'll give it to them on Instagram too. Let's pin that comment. All right, we're gonna change that up. All right, so you can go right there and purchase the documentary. Support our cause. And so we're just getting started. The only reason I showed you all those white black people in Europe is to show you the white people weren't there for a long time. When you see Martin Luther and the theses coming up in the 1500s, and that's them creeping in to the society. But if you want to know what they actually look like, oh, y'all want to see? Y'all want to see what the black Europeans discussing? Y'all want to? Okay. I got to show you. Hold on. I'm going to go to it. Let me show you what they look like. I just want to show you what they look like. Really known as Moors. We're not asking the question. Slaves so long, where they came from, and how they infiltrated and got to where they are today. All right, I'm about to show y'all what they look like. So now, let me put this into context. I want to show you how terrible the system that the Pale people set up as far as curriculum is. I want to show you. I'm coming to that Moors versus Moors, Aboriginals versus Aboriginals. I'm going to get to all of that. That is the dumbest, most unintelligent stuff that's happening, and these people are agents in the community who are doing that. I'm going to get to that, though. Give me some time. Let me show you what's real first. Because if you spelling Moors M-O-O-R-S and saying it's not the same as M-U-U-R-S, you're stupid. You're stupid. Like completely. These people online, I don't care how many followers they got. These are the most unintelligent people. And this is why y'all need to come to our university so you can vet this stuff. Then they put the Moors versus the Aboriginals without any explanation. This is what happens when the brain becomes so, I don't want to use bad words, but retarded. Now I got to cover that. I ain't going to cover it yet. I'll get to that in a minute. Let me get to the information that's valuable. Stupid, bro. You just stupid. Here we go. Look at the book now. You see the Latin? This is from George Schott. We'll start here and work our way back. 1662. This is 1662. The reason why I'm showing this, hold on, let me come in. The reason why I'm showing this is because you go to school, if you're a geneticist, and you got to learn that Neanderthal lived 30,000 years ago. Oh, really? And went extinct after some of them allegedly admixed with Homo sapiens and Denisovan 30,000 years ago. What no. Let's try 300 years ago, 400 years ago, 500 years ago. They saw these hairy beings and they had names for them. Stuff is in books. So my point is, the Aboriginals and Moors in their texts, the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Holy Quran, Popol Vuh, we talked about these beings, Neanderthals and other things. They was just here. They're still here. It's just the admixture kept going, so they lost their hair. I don't care nothing about no Bering Strait, Land Bridge, fake, nothing. Let's go. And this material from medieval Europe that discusses a lot of things, but one of the very important things it discusses is something called the wild men and the wild women. Now, we're starting here and working our way back, because by the time we get back to the source origin of these stories, it will become clear to you where white people were, why they were enslaved, and how they got to where they are today. Most of the source materials will be in other languages, but here is a translation. Gaspar Schott of the Society of Jesus, a Jesuit, formerly at Panorantium, Palermo in Sicily, now at the Gymnasium, professor of mathematics of the Society of Jesus, Physica Chiroso, or The Wonders of Nature and Art, comprised in 12 books, in which many things are explained: angels, demons, humans, ghosts, apparitions, monsters, portents, animals, meteors, etc., both rare and curious, drawn from various authors and philosophical principles, and illustrated with numerous examples and engravings. It must be noted here that Gaspar is a student of Athenaeus Kircher. You might not know who he is. He is a famous alchemist and Jesuit for the Holy Roman Empire. But I only mention him because he was a student of Ahmed ibn Wahshi, aka the real Muhammad. And so now we have medieval authors, mathematicians, people in society in high rank, studying a particular time in history where the Saracens broke away from Rome and developed a system that was very similar to the Moorish civilizations in ancient Egypt. You can see here that the text is dedicated to the most serene and most powerful prince, Charles Louis, Elector of the Holy Roman Empire, with 4 engraved plates and by imperial privilege. And it gives the year and the locations for the print. Here we get to see some of the talk and lore of the day. These are wild men and wild women, but they are noted in our scientific terms that we use today as hominids, or Homo sylvestris, and various other types of hominids. They existed during the time, they were known, they lived in the forest, and so we have to take another look at this, because in our modern world, hominids of this type were supposed to have been gone for thousands and thousands of years. The hominids that they associate themselves with the most, being Neanderthals, were supposed to also have went extinct thousands of years ago, only living or leaving gene types. A cursory study of history and primary text proves that to be false. Neanderthals were known. Various forms of hominid and hairy creatures were known during this time period. It is not a myth, and so we have to take another look at this particular history as we move back, because now that we are identifying that this was a reality, that people during medieval times saw Neanderthals, recorded them, talked about their anatomy and physiology, why they're so hairy, and came up with the best synopsis that they could with the knowledge that they had at the time. The fact is, they existed during the time period. And so when we think about how we perceive things now, based on primary documents from the past, our perception is way off. Not only did they exist, they were close. They were a part of society in some particular aspects. And so now, as we look at this, we have to shift our chronologies, because the reconstructive chronology is false. It has us all believing things that now, as we read the literature coming out of Aboriginal University, we can conclude is not true. The historian supporting the lie will make this seem as if it's an anomaly. This is why I collect a lot of evidence, various authors talking about it, not over 50 years or 100 years, but literally over hundreds and hundreds of years, centuries, inheriting the conversation from predecessors, altering the conversation to the point where we get where we are now. Modern evolutionary biology teaches us that these beings were first, and that Homo sapiens lost their hair, developed cancer, and it mutated into melanin. This is modern evolutionary biology that we're taught. It is a hoax. What we have here is an attempt to bury a very, very, very important secret. Where do white people come from, and why did they experience slavery for such a very long period? Why did they see to it to try to alter history books over the last 200 years to make people believe in a chronology that didn't exist, to hide their origins, and to disturb the origins of the Aboriginals, the Moors, and the various other indigenous peoples on the planet? So now let's make it a little more personal. Petrus Gonzalvinus, 1537 to 1618. He lived. People knew him. People knew his family. His daughters also had this condition. And the conversation on whether this is a random genetic disorder or whether this is something that's normal. Let's pose a question. If modern evolutionary biology teaches us that these hairy creatures came first, how could this then be a disorder? It would be how we're supposed to look. You can't have it both ways. Either this is an adverse mutation, or some type of adaptation, or it is an original trait that we have. But uniquely, no other people on the planet, not in Asia, not in North America, not in South America, not in Africa, portrayed their ancestry with full body hair. So it just begs the question. If Neanderthals did have this and other hominids, and they are the only people that are depicted this way, we can come to a conclusion. It goes much deeper. Here we have Black Madonnas all over the earth being depicted. In Eurasia, in the Slavic countries, the first Black Madonna is depicted, mother and child, Africa, 18th dynasty, America, Olmecs. All right, let me stop it. Let me stop it. This is easy to understand. I have, let's see. This is my 7th documentary. It's people in the tribe who don't even watch the documentaries. I did a documentary on Dr. Sebi. I did a documentary on Malcolm X. I did 3 documentaries on our indigenous past. I did a documentary on our indigenous past and the genetics. I did a documentary on the fake transatlantic slave trade. Bruh, what I am telling you is that there are no people who can tell you this information. The people who are hiding in libraries, they're comfortable. They don't even feel threatened by anything that you're thinking, that you're doing, because they give you the people who are your leaders. W.E.B. Du Bois, or Dr. Umar Johnson, or whoever else they give you. But these people are not about to do nothing educational alone for you. The level of disrespect for a human to come before you and to say whatever they're saying to you based on this world's curriculum, you should be ready to vomit. But your response cannot be irresponsible conspiracy theories. That's what little boys do, who's still on the porch. Your response has to be patient, calculated, network. Bro, I got people who all around me who don't even watch my documentaries. The reason why it's like that, and let me give this caveat to any black man that wants to stand up for his people. Your greatest enemy are going to be your own people. Your greatest opposition might come from might be your own family, but it's okay. You have to learn the lessons of people that they missed in the past. One of the lessons that I had was, I don't care if my own people don't accept me. My information, product, or service is going to be so hot that the world will accept it. Till this day right now, I sell more books in the United Kingdom than I sell in any place on earth. I ain't even never been to the UK. I got brothers who are FOI who came into the mosque with me in the 90s who won't read the books on Islam and history that I'm giving you right now because their teachers have them scared. Think about that now. Do you think Wesley Muhammad could come to a Nation of Islam mosque and teach you what I'm teaching you right now? They will not let him. Firebomb. Do you think, and this is not disrespect to them as a person, they just making choice. Do you think a Rizza Islam could come and teach you what I'm teaching you? He'll get outed by his own circle. Do you think if Umar Johnson ever get his fake cyber school off the ground, his imaginary school, that he would have this type of information in the school? Hell no. The Pan-Africans ain't letting nobody teach them no like this. My point is this. Look, if I would have, and I'm not claiming to do this, but if I would have did this all by myself, strategically, from point A to point Z, it would only prove one thing: that you don't need a whole lot of people to make something happen. You don't need a whole lot of people. I don't have no massive research teams. Not yet. What I'm trying to say is the same energy. I'm gonna give white people their credit. The same energy that I got now, I can relate to white people because they had to have it in order to get in power. A group of their women had to listen to the men in order to effectively get into position. Give them a round of applause. Their children had to obey the parents for a period of time to get them in a position of power. They had to be willing to cut, fight, bleed, and stand. They got you on some Kumbaya international, we are the people, we all love each other, and you don't even have a jurisdiction or a national identity yet. You know how slow and stupid that is? And you don't have a sense of urgency. You got a sense of urgency to do everything. You got a sense of urgency for Valentine's Day. You got a sense of urgency if it's your birthday to post on Facebook, but you don't have a sense of urgency to know what ground you're standing on when it comes to your genealogy, your past, your culture, and your history. There is no technique that white people are using right now that they didn't learn from black people. Not one. Not one. It's a joke. Now, let me undo some things. So we coming back to the slavery thing, but I got to undo some stuff. I got to do this because this is getting out of control. Let me qualify what history says about certain things and what these doofus, new age, pseudo, some being actual implants in the community are talking about. Yeah, let me address it. It must be addressed. So I'm going to address it. Oh, I'm going to address it. I got to address it. Here we go. Let's address it. We can't let nobody get away. We can't let nobody get away. We can't let nobody get away. Hold on. I got something for these more MOORS versus MUURS people. We're going to go there, and then we're going to go Aboriginal, more beef. We're going to do all that real quick. And this is easy for me to do. Because when you're talking to people who don't know what they're talking about, all you got to do is give absolute facts and let them dance around the subject and make up some shit that they want to make up. It's cool. Make it up if you want to make it up. Guess what you're not going to be able to do? They're not going to be able to rebut not one thing that I say. I promise. What they're going to do is they might even talk about me personally, but they're not going to be able to rebut what I'm talking about. Let me show you why. Let me show you why. Let me open up my hieroglyphics. We about to open it up. Hold on. Let me open up my sources. I don't want nobody saying nothing. Let me open up my stuff. Hold on. Give me a second, y'all. I got to open up old stuff for this one. This is an old argument. I got to open up my old stuff. I don't even know if I have this in here. Oh, I know where it is. Excuse me. Sorry. I know exactly where it is. Here we go. All right. Excuse me, y'all. I got so many books on this dang on computer. I got to pull all the correct things off. So we do things accurate, and we don't have people trying to dance around this subject, because all this goes out into the public. And I know people be watching my lives. I know which ones watch it, and I'm not about to let them slip away, not one little bit. No, I will not. So let me get all my files lined up so I can make sure that I'm clear, direct, and well sourced. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, we're not going to let them get away. Now, the question of where the word more comes from, who is a more? More. Hey, what you mean what happened to the pics? I showed y'all the pics. If you want to know what happened to some of the pics, some of them we have. Lots of them they destroyed. Get into class, though. We're going to walk you through it. Here we go. Where does the word more come from? I am not about to let nobody make nothing up. I know linguistics. The word more is not Greek as its origin. It's not Latin. It's not English. You have to deal with etymology. And then with etymology, you have to deal with chronology. And with chronology, you need primary documents. And here is a primary document. King Tut's North Panel. I could go all throughout these documents and read it. But this is what it says. Nesutsin Kaktif Merief Tut Ankh Aten Sheps. That's what this panel says. And the word right here where you see a plow and these two, this is Mary. Like Mary, the mother of Jesus. The word Mary is Egyptian. It means an heir to the throne, like Mary Hatshepsut. It meant heir to the estate, political, wealth, etc. It comes from Egypt, but we were the first to settle Egypt. Egypt is an American colony. We have been interacting with indigenous peoples in Africa, Tamari, for thousands of years. We shared culture. We even shared cranial deformation. We shared cocaine with them. When you say the word more, what you are talking about is an indigenous African. Historically, the tribes here in this part of the planet were not Moors. However, we did interact with them. We did trade with them. We did have children by them. But there's the law of jus soli and jus sanguinis. If you go into a Moorish jurisdiction in Africa somewhere, guess what? You have a baby, that baby is Moorish. Even if they have lineal ties to America too. That's called dual citizenship, bro. Y'all do it now and y'all act like they couldn't have done it then. But when you come to America, you have to respect the linguistics, the lineage, the people. And we do have a common ancestry. But that ain't what we're talking about right now. We're talking about where the word more comes from. So there is no such thing as a difference between the word M-O-O-R and M-U-U-R. That is what you call a transliteration of another whole language. I don't care what Dane Calloway says. English is not an original language on this planet. Although Black people did develop English, it wasn't on this country, in this land. We know the languages in this land. That's where the word more comes from right there. That's the first linguistic origin of it. You can argue with your mama, your grandma. You can argue with E.A. Wallace Bud. You can dig him up and invoke his ghost. I don't care what you do. That's where the word comes from. Simple. It ain't that hard. If you want to go back further than this, I got it in books. I put everything in a book. Some things we don't got to argue about. You can keep arguing all you want. You don't have nothing to argue with. I don't care if you follow Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Garvey, the Empress, whoever you follow. Follow who you want to follow. Have whatever evangelical thoughts that you want to have. You're entitled to that. But when it's time to do jurisdiction, scholarship, identity, genealogy, sit your evangelical ass down somewhere. Sit your ass down. This is grown man conversation. You don't belong here. We can solve problems and identify what a problem is here. We're not a part of what you're a part of. I'm sorry. And you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, I can remind you very easily too. Wasn't no white slaves in ancient Egypt? What are you talking about? The slavery in Egypt was black on black. You doubt me? Wasn't no white slaves in Egypt. White people was crawling around with hair on their bodies back then. Oh, I don't care what Egyptologist, what Metal Netter scholar, I don't care what they said. These are Nubians, these are Egyptians, both dark-skinned people. What are you talking about? Kush Kashet. The black people was enslaving each other. We was doing it here too in the Americas. We fought with Europeans. The first people to come over from Europe were black. We were trading slaves with the Norse Vikings 600 years before the Columbus era. Slavery is not my point. This is why do you know why I'm saying this? Let me tell you why I'm saying this. Slavery is not the issue. Reparations is not the issue. The issue is family, jurisdiction, genealogy, identity, institutions, and then restitution and reclamation. Reparations is something you give to yourself. Repair happens internally. By the time I'm going outside of my body to get somebody to put something into repair, my body is too sick to repair itself. You're telling on yourself. Reparations is what we do for ourselves. Reclamation is saying, oh, we have over such and such million miles of acres of land that you got to return to us. Restitution is organized activity so the BIA can give us our multi-billion-dollar fund back. But you can't go with dumb leadership. Your leadership is dumb, and you love it. Give yourselves a round of applause. No, I do not sound like polite. I don't sound like polite. Polite was sounding like me. What? And I'm not saying nothing that he's saying in the sense of how he was saying it. Let me just tell you the truth. All these niggas have been doing is copying me for all these years, and y'all just too slow to see it. They took a little piece of what I was doing, ran out with it, created something, made it real flashy, and then tried to sell it to y'all. And black people were so stupid, they fell for it. Bring your wives out. We was doing that back in when? 2008, 2009. They saw me bringing my wives out. They want to start using polygyny as a hoax to sell. They saw me doing live streams. They started doing live streams. They saw me create a university. They go create a university. They saw me create a jurisdiction. They're like, no, we ain't going that far. I'm sorry to say, listen, the reason why people in ARNA are going to be a decade ahead of the average Black American is because they've been in the right classroom, the right institutions to prepare themselves to go out, have product, service, economy, structure, etc. if they've been listening, so they can be functional. So getting back to the conversation, this whole Aboriginal versus the Moors. Which Moors? Which ones? The Byzantines? The Holy Roman Empire? The Islamic Moors? Which one? People don't even know the difference. Were Aboriginals fighting Moors? Aboriginals were allied with Moors, and Aboriginals were fighting Moors. We're doing the same thing we've been doing. No structure, no group identity. You're gonna get up into cliques and fight. That's what you do now. It's almost human nature when you don't have a resonating code that calls on people to come together for something of a higher purpose, that they start set tripping. Humans have been doing that as long as we have been on the earth. And so what I am saying right now is the only reason you don't know all of this because there were slaves. And so the next documentary is to show you how they took over. How did you lose stuff so fast? You know, I'm telling you how you lose it fast. My great grandmother and great great grandmother were midwives. Let me show you how cold my family is. My mother and father, before they got together, lived in the same neighborhood, and my great great grandmother delivered my mother and my father. I'm not done. My great great grandmother delivered my grandparents on my father's side. And they were not even married yet. So you had women who were caring for the community, watching the babies come around, and then they were marrying each other, bro. So that's the woman at home protected. That is the family being protected. That's children growing up around each other who end up knowing each other their whole life and being married. And all of them stayed married their whole life. My grandparents stayed married the whole time. My parents been married for 50-some years. My great-grandparents all stayed married or whatever. We still got all the land and the property, and now what people are doing. This one trying to get over here and sell this one from this one, and this one going to sell the great-grandparents' land, and this one's going to sell a bunch of sellout niggas. It's in your own family. You looking for it. Which Moors separated? Which Moors betrayed us? Which Aboriginals fought which Moors? Nigga, they fighting in your family. You asking me the wrong question. They will sell out great grandma and great great grandma's land, inheritance, and wealth for one auntie to get something and the other ones to get something. They're doing that right now, bro. What are you talking about? A betrayer is a betrayer. My point to you is ask the right question, you get the right answers. How are my mom will say to this day, her grandmother, my great grandma, will put a root on you. What does that mean? Our grandma lived over by Williams-Brice Stadium. Their family is from the southern part of South Carolina, Beaufort, the island, so-called Gullah Geechee, all that. Yeah. No, wait a minute. Who taught them hoodoo? I dare you to say they read it out of a book. Which one? That's an unbroken chain of cultural handed down indigenous systems. I saw the people who weren't colonized. Oh, they spoke English. Oh, they got the white man last names. What last names? They never had no last names. These are not slave names, bro. They never had last names. All these last names are black. And we did have various languages. We had Hitishi. We had Wales style English here. We had Algonquian dialects. Algonquian dialects that are not even native. Those are old Tifinagh Arabic from Berbers crossing. Hold on. Let me bring my evidence up because I don't like talking. I don't like just talking. No. I refuse to do it. I refuse. I refuse. Let's go to the documentation. Let's show you what happened. Let's not let nobody say we're making up anything. We ain't making up nothing. Y'all talking about Native Americans. What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? We got to go through this because you got to understand how there were no Eurasians here and they just got here. What no Native Americans came across no damn Bering Strait. Are you kidding me? Look! God damn it. This is who was in the temple. This is North America, bro. Mexico. Mexico is in North America, not Central America, North America. Bro, do I need to show you? Then you got people, oh, this is lookership. What are you talking about? You're looking at me and telling me I'm African. That's lookership. This takes the CUTU gene to make the hair. This takes the MC1R gene code, uninterrupted, undeleterous format to make that skin. But this is Mardi Gras. What are y'all talking about? Then look at it. Egypt. Mexico. South America. Why do you think they was doing their skull? We told you about the anterior fontanella and how this affects the brain. They were doing cranial reformation for a specific reason on both sides of the Atlantic. What is y'all talking about? Cotton? They got y'all mad at Mississippi cotton? Codex Telluriano-Rememsis. This cotton was being sold all across North America. When the Spanish came here, we already had cotton. How do you think we was wearing all these luxurious gowns and parasols and other things? But we had cotton, boy. What is y'all talking about? Chocolate? Aboshi in the building! Shout out to Aboshi. Throw Aboshi up in the... Let me throw Aboshi up in the... Let me go throw Aboshi. We got the chocolate back now. We got the chocolate back, bro. We got the chocolate back now, bro. We got the chocolate. Let me throw it in the chat. Go to Aboshi Cacao. Get the dissertation. Get your ass some chocolate. Y'all got y'all got the 4th, excuse me, I'm about to say the 4th of July. Valentine's Day, Lover's Day, whatever, Eshell Day. Y'all got all kind of names for this shit. Whatever. We took the chocolate back, bruh. Y'all don't believe me? Let me show you. We took the chocolate back. We took the chocolate back, nigga. What are y'all talking about? Shout out to Brother Kwahu and the gang. What are y'all talking about? Get your ass some Arna cacao. Get this dissertation so you can learn that we had cacao right here in Georgia. Yes, we grew cacao right here in Georgia, bro. This is how we know. This is how we know these Eurasians ain't got nothing to say. They don't know nothing about nothing. So we're not just talking. These brothers and sisters had to sit down and do the research for this dissertation to figure out the distribution channels for this information, to get out the chemistry, the plant for this information, to sit down. We had to edit. We had to do all this, but this takes work. And y'all want to go online and listen to who? Y'all corny as for wanting to do that. Y'all corny for doing that. Y'all can't get mad at these corny leaders. Y'all gotta get mad at y'allself for listening to corny leaders. Not y'all who are in my chat. I ain't talking about y'all. Y'all know better. Y'all should know better. What I'm trying to show you is stop making excuses. We didn't sit here and say, oh, Hershey is putting human DNA into the bars and it has a nano chip and it's going to get in the basis of your dopamine transmitter. And bro, ain't nobody got time to be stressing themselves out by researching further and deep into the abyss about how you're being diabolically destroyed. Damn, y'all niggas got more. Yo, y'all research cortisol levels is like, that shit is like serious high. Y'all done figured out who, and this is why y'all asking, some people asking me who. Y'all want to know so bad so y'all could go make a TikTok video about who created all this confusion. Bruh, aren't you tired of that? Don't you just want to eat some chocolate that we made and relax and get some entheogens and talk about taking back your world or something? Like, bruh, like you're not tired of that? You should be tired. Anyway, we got books on all of this stuff, bruh. Y'all want to talk about Lemuria? Nobody wanted to talk about Lemuria before we was talking about it, but we talked about it academically. We know what civilizations collapsed and fell and whatever. We got all this shit in books. We got it all in books. For people who like to go and, oh, the great Pangea. What Pangea? Pangea wasn't the beginning of nothing. It wasn't. Bro, we got maps from our ancestors, not maps that y'all looking on talking about Thai American and it's a Dutch map and you don't know the difference. Slow. We know how Pangea came into existence. This shit is on maps. We know why Africa is cracking in half right now. This whole fault line is being reactivated right now. West Africa was separated from the whole other mass side of Africa, literally. These are our maps, bro. These are our maps. This is the continent in the Pacific that sunk. How do we know it? How do we know it? They got, bro, listen. These people, we're using indigenous records. They're recently figuring this stuff out. Zealand is the 8th continent. This is the continent that sunk in the Pacific, right here. This is it. This is a map of it from our ancestors. North America, Zealand, South America, West Africa when it was detached. We don't got to sit in here and speculate about shit. We can show you. We can show you them doing surgery thousands of years ago. We can show you. We can show you the cocaine in the African bodies. We've been going across this Atlantic way before this Columbus epoch. Balabanova did the research. Cocaine and Hape all up in the Pharaoh. Pharaoh got on his yacht and came to America, and boy, that Pharaoh was wilding out. Pharaoh was up there like, say hello to my little friend. Say hello to my little friend, bruh. Ramesses II and all them boys was coming over here wilding out on the cocaina. Chi, get the yayo! Nigga! Like, do y'all understand that you're in a prison if you believe white people? Listen. Let me rephrase this. If you believe anything white people said about history in the way that the general curriculum is written, you the dumbest who ever existed, bro. You need some Chi. We need to give you some Tony Montana so we can wake your ass up, because you got to be crazy. Like, bro, I don't even know why y'all keep bringing up a child predator in the comment section, bro. Y'all ought to be ashamed to quote a child predator, bro. But I ain't even gonna go into that, bro. Y'all just be wilding out. Anyway, Chi, get the yayo, bro. We know the whole history, bro. We don't gotta make nothing up. Like, bro, this conversation, we can go, if y'all like the spooky Dr. Phil Valentine Fifth Dimension talk, bro, we could go into that way better than they can. We ain't about to do that. But the man with the oldest DNA on Earth, Albert Perry, and the Perry line, look where he was from. Florida. When Florida was not even a part of the United States. Florida came a part of the United States in the 1840s, bro. He was down there in 1816 when this was Indian land. The oldest DNA in the history of the world comes from the southeastern United States of America. Y'all want to keep going? The oldest trees. Look at, this is a list of the oldest trees on Earth. Look at where they are. God damn it, them shits ain't in Africa. They're not in Africa. United States. Still America. Chile. United States. The oldest trees, the oldest animals, the oldest people. What are y'all talking about? Africa what? We don't got no problems with Africa, man, but quit playing with us, bro. The oldest people are right here. Sorry. We didn't come from no goddamn hominids. Hominids are deformed humans. They still exist today. This boy is vegan. He eats bananas and grass and herbs only. Look what happened to him. This is supposed to be the oldest hominid. Sahelanthropus chadensis. Look at his crown. Look at this crown. It's the same one. This boy's still alive. He's from Rwanda. Boy won't eat no meat. That's what your children are going to look like in 4 generations if you stay on your misunderstood plant-based diets. But my point is, this is microcephaly. That's a disease. It ain't got nothing to do with no ancient humans. Now, some of them did go through cataclysms. But my point is, y'all listening to these people from Oxford, Yale, Harvard, and all of these other places, bro, these are the dumbest people who ever existed, bro. We could go all day long. So now let's come back. I only went all the way there to come back to the subject. White slavery. And so these people were slaves. Guess who helped some of them? We did. And the southeastern tribes, the Catawba, helped the Europeans. The Catawba was black. The Catawba helped the British against the Yamasee. The Lower Creek, Muskogee started to fight the Yamasee Creek, Upper Creek. There were 32 tribes that part of the Powhatan Confederation. Some of them turned against their own people to help the European. My point to you is human beings are fallible until they're not. This was never about slavery. This is now about jurisdiction, identity, institutional building, and restitutions. The rest of that talk, y'all can have it. It is a dying world. It is a dying world of lies. Before you know it, AI is going to be telling you what I'm telling you. Let's get the summary because I'm going to get out of here. It is not intelligent for any of us to hate the truth because it's against us. Because the truth can never be against you until you fall in love with the lie. White people, Black people, Asian people, whoever you may be, the truth will set you free. Transparency is what builds trust in a society. When truth becomes the standard, more people trust. And when more people trust, you have a better operation. You don't have to use intimidation, threats, warrants, and all other things to get people to operate because there's a high level of trust. Where there's a high level of trust, the people are actually smarter. They have less stress. They're going to be more creative. And so society will look like the Jetsons without toxins if you have people who have high degree of trust. And so all I'm saying is very simply, there was a white slave trade and it is a part of a suppression. You may not care. Carry on then. Carry on with the schematic, the algorithm of something you didn't create and that does not favor you. We're going to create our own algorithms or merge with the ones that are here laced into the light field and continue to be successful. And so, white people out there, this is what we want you to do. Donate to Aboriginal University. Y'all want to atone? Donate to our institutions. It's highly likely that the world's going to be mad when they find out you, the minority, tried to lullaby the whole world. Don't be coming singing no kumbaya now. All we're saying is, look, we're doing another documentary, a part 2 to the white slave trade, and this is all before the month is out, and one on the Civil War. The reason why I'm doing the one on the Civil War in particular, because I want to show you that the only reason the Civil War happened is because Black people were about to ignite an insurrection that you don't know nothing about, that we wrote about, is documented. And that in order to evade the whole insurrection, the North was like, look, we're going to ally with y'all. Y'all ally with us, and let's fight them. I'm talking about an elaborate intelligence network in Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and they try to call it guerrilla warfare. It was no guerrilla warfare. It was advanced warfare. And that's what y'all had to admit. And so post the Civil War, we went back to our cities and kept building, inventing, started making the universities like Tuskegee and other real universities for our people. Then they came with Spelman and Morehouse. We know what those were, the counter. But it's okay, because it wasn't until we lost our farms and our families that stuff got sticky. Integration and segregation, we still have not learned the real story. The invention of radio and TV became something that was adverse to us, even though it was our scientists who were at the hallmark of helping those technologies to come into existence. But TV presented just like social media, presented a way as a tactic to appeal to women in particular, to draw them out of the home into a fantasy world. And that's something that just happened. Wasn't no damn 500 years ago of colonialization and slavery. And what are y'all talking about? Who 500-year-old slave what? If I open up this book right here, let's do it. Let's go ahead on and do it. Let's go ahead on and do it. If I open up this book right here, what is they going to say? You know what they're going to say? Well, somebody stop him for writing all these damn books. Because when I open up this book and I show you it was more white slaves in the transatlantic slave trade than Black people, you're going to have to deal with the data. When I open up this book right here and show you that there were more white slaves in the transatlantic slave trade than Black slaves, you're going to have to scratch your freaking head and say, how sway? I'll throw the link in the chat. Y'all need these books. This is the new education. This is the new Library of Alexandria, God damn it. Y'all need to go to my site and get educated. I am not joking when it said, no. It's all about family. It's not all about women. See, that's the problem. That's the problem. It's not all about women. It's not all about men. It's about family. The trick. I'm going to put it in Instagram too. I'll put it in Instagram. Yeah. When I open up this book and I show you and prove to you more white people were brought, then you're going to have to scratch your head and say, what's going on? When I showed you the trade was in items of all types, that some people left places like Angola to go to St. Eustatius in the Caribbean voluntarily to get jobs. And so what I'm trying to tell you is, if you are not a reader, you will fail. Now we put it in documentary form. These documentaries are right on the Patreon. Go subscribe to the Patreon. You subscribe to Netflix. You subscribe to Netflix to watch some dumb shit that's going to eat away at your frontal lobe. But we got the greatest education, and you asking what's go subscribe to Patreon. This is the literature for your children in the future. This is the literature for the adults. Anyway, we at the 2-hour mark. I don't have nothing else to say. Go get that documentary. God damn it. You want to study? Go subscribe to Patreon. I don't got nothing to say. If I had another place to send you, when I do have places to send you, you see what I do? Abushi, Eshel Midwifery, just the farmers, the midwives, the people who are production, the doctors. I'm sending them to you. Sending you to them. And so all I'm trying to say is, you have to read in an unbiased way. We all have backgrounds and teachers and other things. It doesn't matter who said it. It has to be vetted. And then once you vet it, you can make sense out of it and you can use it. I don't have nothing else to say. It is your boy, the Ghetto Scholar. Let me get out of here so y'all can enjoy y'all night. We'll be back on the weekend to see y'all with regular class and a discussion. I don't even know if I'm going to drop that part 2, when I'm going to drop it. I might drop it Sunday. I'm not sure. But anyway, thank you for your time tonight. We out.